Hello, explorers, and welcome to Reach the World's Explorer program. For more than 25 years, Reach the World has sparked student curiosity, bringing real-world adventure, fresh perspectives, and fascinating career paths into K-12 classrooms through virtual exchange. My name is Tim, and today we are journeying once again to the Gulf of Oman, or possibly even the Arabian Sea by now. We'll have to ask Mark. To join explorer Mark Evans and his Oman 3165 expedition, all of which is in progress as we speak. Mark, as a reminder, is a seasoned explorer who has lived in the Middle East for 25 years, during which time he's undertaken some remarkable adventures. He's been making great progress in his journey this time, and he's pausing to share an update with us today and answer some of your questions. I'm very, very happy you're here joining us for this special event. For any newcomers to this virtual exchange program, please be sure to check out the links in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. They'll take you to Reach the World's homepage for our Exploring Oman by Kayak program, where you can find all of Mark's articles to date, any upcoming articles, and of course the recording from live events, including this one, which you'll be able to find there as soon as we are finished. We've got a few classrooms joining us today, both backstage and through YouTube. Very warm welcome to you all. I hope you're thinking about questions you'd like to ask Mark today. If you're joining by YouTube, drop those questions in the chat. I'll be happy to ask them on your behalf. And if you're joining us backstage, we'll bring you on camera. And if you're feeling brave today, you can ask Mark and his team yourself. And without further ado, I know you're all excited to reconnect with Mark, so let's join him live from the coast of Oman. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Tim. I'm afraid you can't see much of me. You can maybe see the headlights of my car in the sand way behind me, because we're having some pretty stormy weather out here in Oman. It's very unusual to have rain in the desert, but we've had rain today and flash floods and Beaufort force 4 winds. So we haven't been able to get the kayak on the water today, but we're hoping things calm down a wee bit for tomorrow. So because the car is stuck in the sand right now, I've had to walk up. I've got 2 bars on my phone, so that's the best we can do. Connectivity isn't great, I'm afraid.
You know, that gives us some really good perspective on where you are compared to where we are right now, because what I see on your screen is just beautiful, pure blackness. It is very, very dark night where you are. Is that how it feels to you?
Yeah, it is. All I can see ahead of me is a tiny mosque on the side of the road, and a gazillion stars in the sky, and the glow of some communities along the coast in the distance. But other than that, it's just another night in the desert. You know, we're used to incredibly starry skies, but today's been really cloudy. Actually, it's been great because it's given us some relief from the sun, which is all sort of powerful here. But this cloud seem to have shifted, the stars have come out, and yeah, it's another beautiful night.
Well, but for your stuck vehicle, it sounds like a pretty idyllic evening there. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. I know that since the last time we spoke with you, you have covered a lot of ground. Can you bring us up to date on the expedition so far?
Sure. So since we last spoke, we've turned the corner of Arabia, because probably about 7 or 8 days ago now, Tim, we rounded a place called Ras Al Had, and Ras means point, and it's the most easterly point of the entire Arabic-speaking world. So it's where 3 seas meet: the Arabian Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and the Indian Ocean. So I'm now paddling along the Indian Ocean.
Okay.
And that means the landings are quite rough because of the swell. There's big waves roll along that ocean, and when they come into shallow water, they break and lose all their energy on the beaches. Well, it's lovely when you're out on the water, but I've got to get to that beach after 6 hours of paddling. So that means I have to paddle through the big dumping waves, which is quite exciting. But you know what? We just got to do it. So it's just adds a bit more excitement to the day.
It sure sounds like it, and I knew just by following the map that you were rounding sort of a point, at least a geographic point, and it sounds like that has changed in many ways the paddling conditions. Early on in your journey, You shared some beautiful photos of very still, scenic waters. Seemed like very peaceful paddling, at least through the photos. And now it sounds like you're doing battle with the water a little bit.
Very much, yeah, yeah. I'm dreaming of those calm waters right now. Actually, it's day before yesterday. Well, yesterday was a beautiful day, and one of the highlights of the trip, really, 25 kilometers. I did it in 5 hours on the water, really beautiful. But the day before was possibly the worst journey of the 34 so far, and just constant headwind and having to work really hard. Whenever I stopped paddling, I was going backwards, and it took me 7 hours to do what I did in 5 today. So, every day's different, and you just got to keep plodding away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just for our classrooms who are joining us backstage and online today, I want to switch to your questions for Mark very soon. So please be thinking about questions you have for Mark and his expedition along the coast of Oman. I'll bring up some of our backstage classrooms in just a minute. And if you're watching online, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I am happy to fold in your questions as we go. Mark, a lot of the classrooms that are Reach World classrooms that are following today have, been learning about different Middle Eastern countries and cultures, and are excited to sort of connect with you because this coastline of Oman that you are exploring is a very different landscape than I think a lot of Reach the World classrooms are used to. And you even in one of your recent articles talked about how that landscape is shaped by, extreme temperatures and lack of fresh water and things like that. Can you give us just a little sense of your overall impression of the coastline that you've experienced so far before we go to student questions?
Sure, Tim. Well, it's just incredibly varied. So where we started on November the 13th in the most northerly point of Oman, and that's a place called Musandam. It overlooks the Straits of Hormuz, so about 20 miles away across the water from Iran. And there, huge, massive mountains plunge straight down into the sea. And the challenge for kayaking there is finding somewhere where you can land and get out of your boat, because if you miss a beach, then you could be paddling in the dark for hours until you can possibly find another place to get out of your boat. So after about 5 days of that spectacular scenery, then it leveled off to flat sandy coastline with mountains in the distance beyond, and quite fertile with farms and date palms and lots of fishermen on the beaches. Then we reached the sort of urban area, the capital city Muscat, that we passed about 2 weeks ago. Again, sand, but starting to go back into the low rocky coastline, which is quite difficult paddling actually, because the waves rebound off the cliffs, and so you got waves coming at you from both directions. And now we're back into a very long sandy coastline, and pretty windswept, not many communities. The only kind of jobs out here for locals are shrimp farming, fish farming, anything to do with fish in the sea. But other than that, it's a very sparsely populated area of Oman where we are right now. Yeah, but just beautiful nonetheless. Just amazing sandy beaches, but just full of, sadly, the high tide line is where you find tons and tons of plastic, which is just horrific. And, it's not just an Oman problem, it's a global problem. And you tend not to see it in the water so much, but it clearly gets thrown up by the water. And, it's a huge problem that spoils what is otherwise the most beautiful of landscapes that I'm traveling through.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that overview. I have lots of questions for you, but I want to bring in our students who are the stars of Reach the World. And Mr. Strayer's class in Oklahoma has been waiting patiently to ask their questions. So they can't really see you, Mark. We can see your headlights in the distance of your car. But
Yeah.
I think we can see them. So I'll invite them to go ahead with their question.
All right. Hey, Mark. Hey, Rich Strayer here from Norman, Oklahoma. Our class is listening. It's like around, I don't know. We just see like a couple lights out there. It's like we're looking at space or something. But
yeah, hey, that's the headlights of my car that's stuck in the sand, sadly.
Yeah. So I have a student question right behind me. So we're going to do that first.
Hi, I'm Molly in Oklahoma. Sadly, no coastlines here. My question is, what is your most and least favorite part of kayaking and why?
Oh, that's a great question, and I like your hat too. That's great. My best and my best is just being out there when the water's calm and sharing what I do with nature because there are no engines on my boat. It's totally silent. And so sea snakes and birds and fish and turtles come really, really close. So that I would say is the joy of sea kayaking. The hardest part is uh, the hardest part is just keeping going sometimes when the wind is so strong and really at this time of year the wind should be blowing from the north. In Arabic, we call it shimal winds, but sadly, for some reason, the wind for the last week has been blowing very strongly from the south, which is the direction I want to go in. So it's been in my face. So that has been definitely the least favorite, the fact that the wind is completely in the wrong direction for this time of year. But, there are many, many bonuses of just launching your kayak into the most beautiful sunrise and seeing the most beautiful wildlife around you.
Okay.
Great question, Ma. I like your hat too. You look like you're ready for holiday break. Nice. Great. We have a next question. Fabulous.
Okay. So here, let me get it set again. Here you go.
Hi, my name's Parker. Do you ever get bored of kayaking?
Well, Parker, that's a great question. I don't, but there are times when I think I'm a bit crazy and I wish I was doing something normal, like drinking coffee in a coffee shop or watching a football match on TV. But actually, I don't. I love kayaking, and when it gets tough, then that's where you just have to dig in. I do have I have my iPhone in a waterproof case in a bag on my kayak, so. I carve my day up into hours. So I'm on the water for 6, 7 hours sometimes. So the first 2 hours I just paddle and I get as far as I can because the sea is quite calm. And then hours 3 and 4, I put on some music or a talking book on my phone that I can listen to. And then the last hour of the day is when I'm looking to come ashore. So I'm looking for a good beach to land on where the surf isn't too big. So there's always something to do. There's always something that needs to be done. Things need to be adjusted. I take a break every hour just for a couple of minutes to eat something. I eat dates and nuts and to give me a bit of energy. And so you break the day up into chunks like your day's broken up into different lessons. If you just sat in the same room all day and did the same subject, it'd be pretty boring, eh? But the fact that you break it up gives it a bit of variety. And that's what I try and do, Parker.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure.
Hey, and Tim, we have like 3 more questions. Would that be okay, or is it too many?
Yeah, could we do one more and then loop in some other classes and then come back to you, Mr. Strayer? Do you have time for that today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name's Ethan. What's the weather usually like when kayaking?
Hi, Ethan. Well, here in Oman, that's a good question also. Normally, sun comes up at 6:30 in the morning and goes down at 5:30. The wind is usually quite calm for the first 2 or 3 hours of the day, but when the sun comes up and the land starts to get hot, then the air starts to move and the wind builds up and the sea gets rougher and rougher as the day goes on. But at night now, it's down to about 17 degrees Celsius. I think you use Fahrenheit in the States, so I'm not quite sure how that translates. But in the day, it's up to about 26 or 27 degrees Celsius, which is really nice temperature, actually. It's not, and on the sea, there's a little bit of a breeze, so it keeps you nice and cool. So the weather's not too bad. Every day it's blue sky and sunshine, apart from today, which is the day that you guys are here, when it was raining and cloudy, which is so unusual. Everyone gets very excited. It's like snow falling in Oklahoma. It's everyone gets really excited about it.
Great question. I did some quick math while Mark was talking. 17 degrees Celsius is about 62 degrees Fahrenheit. So pretty nice by my standards, where it's awfully cold here. Thanks, Mr. Strayer. We'll come back to you in just a couple moments. Miss Ponsard's class, we're going to come to you in just a moment if you have any questions. But we have a couple questions online that I wanted to put up, especially this one, Mark, which I love, and I think you'll love answering. How did you become an explorer? How does one become an explorer?
Yeah. Well, Antonio, that's a great question. I think because I was very lucky to grow up in the countryside when I was a boy. So I'd get off the bus from school at the end of the day and there'd be nothing around my parents' home. So you have to, what do? You go out and explore. I'd take my dog, I'd take my fishing rod, I'd walk across the fields, I'd walk to the river and I'd do some fishing and I'd go to the woods. And so I think I've always been an explorer and just someone who's used to going outdoors and making things happen. And I just find explorers really interesting people, and I find they're people that sort of stimulate me to want to do similar things. So being an explorer, I think, is very different. I'm glad you used that word, Antonio, because some people use the word adventurer, and I don't see myself as an adventurer. And the difference for me is that explorers add knowledge to what already exists. If they're a proper explorer, they're going somewhere where not many people go, they're gathering scientific data and information, and they're sharing that with the specialist scientists. And that's what I try and do on all of my expeditions. I think adventurers, you want to get to the top of Everest, bang, you've done it, great. Let's do another challenge. Let's run across, I don't know, let's run across Texas or something like that. But for me, that there's a place for that, but it doesn't really contribute to science. And I think explorers contribute to science and our understanding of the world around us. And I really enjoy doing that.
All right. Thank you for that question, Ms. Stubbs' class. And it's by that definition, Mark, we may have some explorers in the audience today. You don't need to be, on a multi-week kayaking expedition in Oman to be an explorer. I love that definition. And I want to switch over to Miss Ponsard's class. Hi, Miss Ponsard's class. We're going to Ohio. Do you have any kids who are brave enough to step up and ask Mark a question?
Come on, Caroline. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Caroline. What is your favorite part of the expedition so far?
Oh, Caroline, that's a real tough question to answer. I would say, spending time. I mean, I love kayaking, but I also, the two highlights of my day, I would say, are sunrise and sunset, because the light is just beautiful. So I love launching my kayak onto the water at sunrise. But you know what? I also love, at the end of a long day's kayaking, sitting under the shade of a tree, listening to the birds, talking to my teammates about how the day's gone and what the plans are for tomorrow. So it's a whole combination of things. I mean, I guess the real answer is I love all of it, but some bits I love more than others, especially sunrise and sunset.
All right, great question. Thank you. Do we have another question or two from Ms. Ponsard's class?
Yeah, I am Asaf for the teacher, and all the students is excited to make a question. And
Okay.
this is the second one.
Great. Hello.
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 What if you had to do something else besides kayaking? What would you do?
Ooh, good question. I would probably be a polar explorer, because I spent a lot of my time in the Arctic, in Greenland, and the Northwest Passage off Canada, and also in a Norwegian island called Spitsbergen or Svalbard. So I love being amongst the wolves and the polar bears. That's where I spent most of my life when I was younger. And so I like sand and deserts and kayaking, but I also love the Arctic. So I'd love to live in a little, or I have lived in a little wooden hut in the Arctic before, and doing some scientific research there. And do you know what? It's just as beautiful as the desert. It's just a desert of snow and ice instead of a desert of sand.
Thank you.
Excellent. Great question. Can we take one more question from Ms. Ponsard's class?
I got it. All right. My name is Eric, and what is your favorite area to go kayaking?
Ooh, Eric. So apart from Oman, I would say my favorite area is close to where I live in Scotland, because I live in Scotland. And on the northwest coast of Scotland, we have beautiful islands. There's a very famous one called the Isle of Skye, and lots of beautiful islands around Scotland where you can kayak. And there's some great wildlife there, otters and some sharks, basking sharks, and lots of seals. And there's always stuff to see, and the water's lovely and clear. So I love kayaking in Scotland. Actually, that's my backyard, and that's where I do my training to do journeys like this.
Well, that's nice, actually.
Yeah. What about where you are? Where are you now? Where you're in Ohio?
Cleveland, like Ohio.
Cleveland. Okay. Where would you go kayaking if you were in Cleveland? Where would you go?
Yeah, usually like Lake Erie down in like North Homestead.
Okay. Brilliant. Well, just getting out there in a boat is beautiful. You enjoy it.
Thank you for the great question, Eric. Ms. Ponsard's class, I'll move you backstage. And I'm getting an echo. Well, we began to transition back to Mr. Strayer's class. Let me take in one more question from the chat. Mark, do you just camp out at night? Is that what you do?
Well, we do, yeah, but we don't have any tents. We just sleep on a mattress on the sand, and sometimes you have a few ants and little things walking all over you in the night. But once you're in your sleeping bag, you're so tired you could sleep anywhere. But I guess one thing that's emerged over the last few days, really, the last 10 days, is we're getting very wet sleeping bags in the morning. There's quite a heavy dew along the coastline of the Indian Ocean here. But the nice thing is, because the sun comes out almost every day, that your sleeping bags and your clothes, they dry very, very quickly. So yeah, we sleep under the stars, and it's a very simple life that we lead. No tents, because tents just stop you seeing those amazing stars.
All right. Mr. Strayer's class, let's bring you back in. I know you've got a couple more questions you want to ask. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much. Hey, we do have a few more questions. I'm going to bring them up here one by one.
Great. Please do.
Hello, I'm Tyler. Do you ever feel like giving up when you're kayaking?
Yeah, sometimes, Tyler, I do. Yeah, but that's normal in any job, I guess, isn't it? Whatever we do, and whether you're doing a bit of homework or whether you're in school or running or kayaking, it's a natural feeling when things get difficult, isn't it? Just to want it to go away. But you know what? I guess I'm a glass half full person. Today may be tough, but you know what? Tomorrow might be even better. So that's always my hope. If I have a tough day like I had 2 days ago, I had no idea what the next day would be like, but it turned out to be absolutely beautiful. So just when it gets tough, you just have to dig in. Sometimes, there's nothing wrong with stopping and saying, you know what? I'm going to conserve my energy for tomorrow because I'm paddling so hard into this wind that it's almost a waste of my energy. So I'm going to save my energy till tomorrow. Otherwise, I've got no energy left in the tank. So yeah, so sometimes the answer to that is yes, but I don't give up. But it does cross my mind sometimes when things get tough that do I need to do things differently to make things a little bit easier?
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
My name's Jaden. Have you ever had to sleep on the kayak because you haven't found the place or?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jaden. No, thankfully, no, because it's so narrow and wobbly that I'd be in the sea if I fell asleep in it for a minute. So as long as I've got my paddle in the water, I'm quite stable. But if I stop paddling, my kayak gets really, really wobbly. So if so there's no way that I could sleep in my boat. I have, in the past had to paddle in the dark for several hours to find a beach on a map because the beach that we wanted to land on was so small. There were already people camping on it. But that was on Vancouver Island, where some of the beaches you're not allowed to land on because of the black bear. Too many black bears around. So it's not safe to land there. So yeah, a couple of times we just had to keep paddling into the dark, but definitely not sleeping in a kayak. That I would not sleep very well, if at all, if I were in a kayak at night, trying to get to sleep.
Great question, Jaden. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Sutton, and I was just wondering, like, why Oman? Like, why did you choose that place to kayak and stuff?
Yeah, well, because I came here 23 years ago as a teacher, and I fell in love with it. It's such a beautiful country. It has mountains that go up to 10,000 feet, amazing seas and deserts, and you know what? It's only a 7-hour flight on the plane, and I can be back home in Scotland. So it's a really easy country to get to. The people are super, super friendly. Everything works. We've got Starbucks coffee, and we've got 5G internet, and life is really good in Oman. Omani people are just lovely people and very peaceful. I never lock my door. I don't think I've locked my door in 23 years, but it's incredibly safe and just a beautiful coastline. So it's good to be able to paddle my kayak along it and share stories of beautiful Oman with people like you.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Pleasure.
Excellent. Should we take one more?
Yep, we have one more. Here,
All right,
scoot up.
wonderful.
There you go.
Okay, hi, my name is Sarah. I was just wondering if you've ever fallen off a kayak or broke a kayak before.
Yeah, I've done both of those, sir. So I broke a kayak on day one. Last time I tried a journey like this, I hit a big rock and it put a hole in the bottom of my kayak, which was letting in water. So luckily, there were lots of fishermen on the beach, and they are very good at repairing boats. So they repaired my kayak for me, and I was able to continue pretty quickly. But in terms of falling out of my kayak, yep, I've done that a few times too. But, the nice thing in Oman, if I fall out of my kayak, the sea's nice and warm. So I can be in the sea for hours here and nothing's really going to hurt me. Whereas if I fall into the sea in Scotland, where I live, then I've probably only got half an hour to survive before I have real problems with severe cold and hypothermia. So in Scotland, it's very serious if you fall in, and you have to wear special clothes. Here in Oman, I can paddle in shorts and a t-shirt, and if I fall in, well, you know what? I can hold onto my kayak, even if it's upside down, and I can just float along quite happily for most of the day until someone comes to rescue me.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent question. Thank you, Mr. Strayer. Students, what excellent questions. I'm going to move you backstage. Mark, as we transition back to Miss Ponsard's class, I had a question for you. You've told us before that as part of your expedition, you are doing some science. You are dropping a hydrophone where you can to try to collect some of the sounds in the water beneath you. You've got some camera traps set up at night to observe what's happening at night around you. As you're camping and exploring the coastline. How's that going? Have you been able to continue collecting that data?
Yeah, the hydrophone, whenever I'm on the water with my kayak, so we're gathering about 5 hours of acoustic recordings every day. The camera trap is out every night, so we're getting lots of foxes, but that'll be the same all the way down the coast of Oman until we reach nearly the border with Yemen, and then it'll get much more varied. We'll have hyenas and wolves and honey badgers and all sorts of amazing things down there that we can share with you. And today we did our 5th eDNA sample. So we took samples of water and squeezed that through a filter via a syringe, and that captures the DNA of almost every living organism that's been in that body of water for the last several weeks. So we've now got 5 samples that we're waiting till we get back to Muscat, the capital city, and then we'll go to DHL and we'll courier the filters to New Zealand, where they'll be analysed. And I would say in mid-January we'll know the results, and that's never been done in Oman before. So we're really excited to see what the results come out with.
Excellent. I know we have got a lot of people interested in the foxes that you encounter on your travels along the coastline. I know we have at least one great photo in one of your Reach the World articles that you posted. So for anyone who's interested in seeing some of the photos from Mark's motion camera at night, make sure you go to the Virtual Exchange homepage and check that out. I see Ms. Ponsard's class ready with another question, so I'll turn it over to you. Welcome back.
What's your go-to meal after you kayak for the day?
Oh, good question. Well, normally we will go to a local restaurant, and local restaurants here, the what influences the food is sort of Pakistani Indian influence. So lots of rice, lots of dal. So I'll have grilled chicken and dal, because I've burnt off a lot of calories when I'm kayaking. So I want to get a lot of calories back into my body so I can kayak again the next day. So for me, it's paratha, which is sort of bread with rice and dal and chickpeas and some chicken for a bit of protein. And that's about it. Drinking lots of water too, because I don't drink enough water when I'm on the sea. I know that, but I make up for it when I get back onto land, because you do need to rehydrate, because it's very hot out here.
Okay.
Great question. Thank you.
We have another question.
Okay, very good.
I was gonna ask, do you ever get into the water just to swim?
Well, do you know what? I don't, but Tim does. Tim's driving the support vehicle that you see behind me. Those are the lights. It's stuck in the sand. We've got to dig it out as soon as we finish this. But I don't, but Tim does for sure, and he loves it. He's in for an hour most days, and sometimes he puts a snorkel and a mask on, and he can see the most amazing fish underwater, which I can't see because I'm floating around on the top. But when you put a snorkel and goggles on, you can see everything that's under the water. And we've been playing around. You've probably seen a 360 camera, an Insta360. We've been playing around with one of those under the water recently to see if we can film under the water 360-degree images. So we'll be hopefully sharing some of those with you when we start leg 2 in January.
Great. Thank you for the question. Just to clarify, the Tim Mark is referring to is not me. It's somebody else. It's a different Tim.
Sorry, yeah.
With Mark. I would love to be snorkeling in Oman with Mark right now, but he's not talking about me. All right, next question.
Do you ever feel scared when you're kayaking?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, I wouldn't say I feel scared, but there are times when I really need to be focused, because if I get something wrong, I'm going to get very wet, or I'm going to come out of the kayak. So landing through the big surf, I need to be absolutely focused to make sure I'm approaching the beach at the right angle and the right speed. And other than that, sometimes, I do paddle a long way off the coast sometimes. I'm about 5 or 6 kilometers away from the beach, which is quite a long way out. And I have to remind myself that I shouldn't be perhaps so far out to sea, but the boat I'm kayaking in is nice and stable. And so I do feel reasonably safe. But then I have to just remind myself, actually, if I do fall out here, I'm 6 kilometers away from land. And so maybe I should move in a little bit closer.
Okay, that's the last question.
So the last.
Great question. One more question.
My name is Hayden, and what is your favorite water animal you see while you kayak?
Oh, Hayden, that's a great question. Do you know what? I have got a favorite, and it's the sea snake. And I've seen quite a few sea snakes. There are two or three different species, one of which is vivid yellow and black stripes, and that they look pretty mean and dangerous. That bright yellow color to me signals danger. But then there are others which are maybe 1.5 meters long, sea snakes, and sometimes you just see them. There's something on the surface that catches your eye, and then its head pops up and it looks at you, and then it just dives down. And I look down into the water, and I can just see this incredibly graceful snake swimming down into the depths. They're amazing animals. You never see them on land. and you're very privileged to see them at sea, I think.
Thank you.
Right. Great question. Great. Another one. Go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm Bo. You were talking about the communities. What's your favorite part of them?
Say that again. Sorry.
What's your favorite part of the community there?
Mark, I think he's asking about the communities that you arrive at by kayak and get to explore each night as you arrive at a new place.
Okay, yeah. Well, a lot of the time there's absolutely nobody. There's no community where I am right now, for example. We really are in the middle of nowhere. It's about 20 or 30 kilometers from little village to little village, and there's nothing in between. So, but when we do go into the villages, it's my favorite thing is just the hospitality, the natural curiosity and the friendliness of the people. They've never seen a kayak before because no one in Oman travels by kayak. So they're always very curious about the boat. They want to know where the engine is. And when I tell them there isn't an engine, they look at me as if I'm completely crazy. It's just the lovely Omani people. And it's not just Omani people. Yesterday, we met people from Nepal and the Himalaya mountains. We met people from Bangladesh. We met people from India, Pakistan. There's lots of different people here. It's fantastic.
Great question. Thank you so much, Miss Ponsard's class. I'm going to move you backstage. Thank you for those great questions. Mark, I've got two more questions for you, one from a classroom in Mississippi and one from myself. And I'll finish with the one from myself. But the question from Miss Stubbs' class in Mississippi gets at how long you've been traveling up to this point, how long you think the entire trip will take, and maybe in addition to that, are you taking a break for the holidays or are you going to go straight through?
Yeah, so great questions again. So today is day 34. I have 2 days left to go because we have quite a lot of schools like yourselves following us, not just in the US, but also in Canada and in the UK. And so we'll be pausing for Christmas when you all break up for your holidays, and I'll be having my own holiday to recover. And then I come back to Oman in about the 3rd or the 4th of January, and we'll be starting to kayak again on the 5th of January. And how long do I think the entire trip will take? That's all depends on the weather. If the weather stays like it is now, it's going to take a very long time, but I don't think it will. So my gut feeling is that we'll end the journey by the end of February down on the border with Yemen. So I will take a break also, I think on the second leg, because it's going to be much longer. I'll paddle for about 7 or 8 days, then I'll have 2 days rest to allow my body to recover, and then I'll go again for another 7 or 8 days, and I'll probably do it bit by bit in that way, rather than trying to do it all in one go, which is what I've done over the last 34 days and being absolutely pooped, which is what I am right now.
Well, I am happy for you to hear that you're going to get a little rest in there. And maybe to close today, we've been looking at the headlights of your car and the distance, and we remember meeting Nigel and Ana-Maria on our last live stream. First of all, how are they doing? And second, how are you going to get your car out of the sand after we leave here today?
Yeah, so two things there. So Anna's now back in Switzerland. Nigel's back in he's skiing in France right now. They've had a good fall of snow. So my friend Tim has flown out to be with me and to support me as I'm going. So Tim's been with me for about 10 days now and doing a great job. So how do we get the car out? Well, that means there's a shovel on the roof rack. So we'll have to shovel some sand away, and then I have a couple of ladders, special ladders called sand ladders, that I'll have to jam under the back wheels, and then we'll try and reverse out. And if that doesn't work, then we'll let some air out of the tires so the bottom of my tire gets squidgy and fat, and that means it's easier to drive in the sand. So whether I do that now or whether I wait till daylight, it might be better to wait till daylight before we try all that. We might just leave the car here and do all that in daylight. I think we'll see. Anyway, look, Tim, if I don't turn up for the next session, you'll know I'm still digging the car out of the sand.
Well, after a long day of paddling, that sounds like a little exhausting to dig sand. But I wish you all the best. And of course, thank you always, Mark, for at the end of your long days of paddling and in the midst of this grueling expedition to join us and talk to Reach the World students and inspire us with your adventure. So, Mark, thank you so much. I'm adding the link at the bottom of the screen to Mark's Exploring Oman by Kayak virtual exchange homepage on the Reach the World website. Make sure students and educators that you're reading Mark's articles. As you heard him say, he's going to be taking a brief pause for the holidays, but we'll resume when we get back from the holidays as well, and sort of be there for the dramatic conclusion of the Exploring Oman by Kayak and the Oman 3165 expedition. So Mark, very best wishes to you. Have a great evening. Thank you again for staying up with us. And on behalf of all of our students who have had to move on to other classes at this end of this live stream, thank you so much and best wishes. And we'll see you again in January.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tim. And have a great Christmas and New Year, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.